Hey Blades fans, welcome back to Hertz Arena for another edition of the Florida Everblades pregame show. Will Henschel alongside Jake Maurice. And Jake, we've got some new looks on today. The special Christmas auction uniforms that'll be used for tonight's game, December 8th, and tomorrow's game, December 9th. December 9th is our official teddy bear toss game. All proceeds for auctioning off these uniforms will go to the Bare Necessities Pediatric Cancer Foundation. And Jake, a great uniform and a great cause.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun watching those guys on the ice looking real good out there. And as you mentioned, game-worn signed jerseys auctioned off in the Dash Auction app. You can get on that right now, so you can make sure you're looking good throughout the rest of the season wearing your favorite player's jersey, all supporting a great cause. Doesn't really get any better than that, Will.
Get to watch some really good hockey, get to try to get a pretty good-looking uniform. I have to say, this thing is sharp. And
drawn by some of the kids that these games will be benefiting, too. Looking pretty good. They did an excellent job making these jerseys look great for us.
Great uniform, great hockey, great cause. But Jake, we do have a game to play tonight. South Carolina coming back into Hertz Arena for Game 2 of this 3-game series after taking a pretty shocking comeback win, 4-3 after 3 unanswered goals in the third period.
Yeah, and it was a lot of the little things that unfortunately hurt Florida, especially defensively in that third when they collapsed late. And losing the point obviously hurts. Would have been fine. Well, wouldn't have been fine, but getting the game to overtime, at least you would have gotten something out of what was a pretty solid effort up until that point. Blades did a lot of good things in that game. But unfortunately, a team like South Carolina, with how well they're playing, especially right now on a 5-game winning streak, good isn't always going to get it done. And you can't have those little lapses, because all of a sudden we went from a 3-1 lead where it looked like the Blades were on their way to a smooth cruise to a win to, oh boy, this game's tied and things aren't feeling good in Hertz Arena right now. And it's never good when things aren't feeling good in Hertz Arena.
You definitely can never count out the South Carolina Stingrays, sitting towards the top of the South Division, always a tough opponent whenever they come into town. So the Everblades have to give them that kind of respect and really, charge out in this game and try to not only establish an early lead, but maintain that early lead. But it wasn't all doom and gloom for the Everblades. We saw a couple of good goal scores, including one by Tommy Apap, netting his first in an Everblades uniform.
Yeah, and it's great for him. He does a lot of thankless minutes, penalty kill, big guy in the face-off dot. He's relied on for a lot of the things that don't always show up on the box score, that don't get the respect, so it was great to see him get that goal last night. He's had a number of helpers this year setting up his teammates, now finally getting one of his own. And you could see on his face and his teammates, they were all really happy for him, and it was great to see.
Yeah, we saw also a decently clean game by both teams yesterday. Only 3 penalties taken the entire contest, 1 by South Carolina, 2 from Florida. We've seen a couple of games where penalties kind of start to add up and start to really affect the pace of play. That wasn't the case on Wednesday night, but those 2 penalties that the Blades did take happened in the third period, and South Carolina did score on the power play for one of those goals.
Yeah, so that certainly wasn't good. It was good to see the number. Coaches have talked about discipline being important all season long, and it's a big part of the Blades game. They like to play at 5-on-5. They feel their game is strong at 5-on-5, and it's shown throughout the season that it is. The Blades are heavily outscoring opponents at even strength this season. But yeah, it doesn't take much for this South Carolina team to get on the board when they have a couple power play opportunities. I'm not saying that you need to have 0 penalties. That's too high of an expectation for any team to hold, that you'll never take a penalty again. But you just got to make sure that you're smart with your stick. Keep your heads calm in scrums, because there's probably going to be a few more in tonight's game, especially with how it went on Wednesday, with this being another big rivalry matchup, 2 important points of the line in the South Division, and both teams having some guys who don't mind chucking the mitts and going at it. It could be a little bit more nasty tonight, but just be smart with it. Be physical, but don't go over the line.
The Everblades have been playing really good defensive hockey the past couple of games. They're close to the top of the ECHL in goals allowed, really limiting the amount of chances that the offense gets on the opposing side. The Everblades have to continue that trend. Defense is really a key part of their game, and definitely looking to shut down what has been probably in the past 5 games. You already mentioned that 5-game win streak that South Carolina's had. Not only has South Carolina won 5 games, they've really dominated a couple opponents in that stretch.
Yeah, they're averaging almost 6 goals a game in this winning streak, and when you're going up against a super hot offense like this, the margin for error is virtually non-existent. We saw that on Wednesday, where the Blades put together a really strong defensive game for about 53 minutes, and then in the final 7, all of a sudden, everything changed, where it seemed South Carolina was just getting through, and I wouldn't say they were finally capitalizing on things they'd had working all game. It was like they finally found a way to break through the Blade system. So now Florida's got to make the adjustments. They got to get ready to improve on what's already a really good defense core. The team is dealing with some injuries and call-ups. That certainly hurts, but that happens in a season, and you just got to go with it. I mean, South Carolina's not a perfectly healthy team either, and look how they're doing right now. So you just got to put those to the side and have the guys who are on the ice ready to go for tonight.
The Blades looking to snap a 3-game losing streak tonight at Hertz Arena. So, Jake, I think it's prime time to get into the Griffith Group of Downing Fry Realty 3 keys to the game.
Well, to get the keys to the game tonight, you look back to Wednesday, what went wrong, and you also look back to last Friday when the Blades were on the other side of the scenario. They had a comeback win on Wednesday last week against Adirondack, and the Thunder came out with a purpose and were able to shut down the Blades and get the win in response. Big things that helped Adirondack in that game and things Florida can do tonight. We've already talked about the little things defensively. Got to make sure that you're just doing all those tiny details the right way. It's better to get it done right than try and do something hasty and get moving up the ice faster and put your team in trouble. Second off, you got to make sure that you get off to a fast start. Thunder last week had 3 goals in the first period. Blades had probably their best start in a while in the game on Wednesday. Was certainly a bright spot. You want to keep that going again. And if you can get a multi-goal lead after the first period, which is something Florida has not yet had this season, that would go a long way towards getting the win. And then finally, we talked about it. Discipline always so important, especially with how good South Carolina is feeling about their offense right now. Limiting their opportunities on the power play, while hopefully finding a few more of your own, will go a long way to helping Florida get a big win. Looking good in these jerseys tonight.
Looking very good, and a great opportunity to get back in the win column for the Florida Everblades tonight. 7:30 puck drop between the South Carolina Stingrays tonight on December the 8th. A Friday home game should be a good one. 239 deals all night long. Get a 10-inch pizza, a game program, and 2 tickets for just $39. For Jake Maurice, I've been Will Henschel. We'll see you at Hertz.